The 2024 Wrangler, what's new, what's changed, and what's different on this Jeep? Let's take a deep dive and get right into it. If you're looking to order a brand new Jeep Wrangler and get it for the best deal possible, shipped right to your door, and also talk to Jeep experts, we're officially excited to announce that we've got our Dirt Road CRED dealership affiliate program up and running, and we are partnered with Dan Cummins Jeep. All you have to do is go onto our website, type in your information, and it'll directly get connected to their Jeep experts where they can get you a great deal in a very fast shipping time frame. Reach out to them so you can get a brand new Jeep with a brand new grille like this one behind me. All right guys, so starting right up front, the brand new 2024 front grille. You can see that because we've already swapped one onto our Jeep. However, with this 2024 grille, I really like the paint matched around the border. A lot of folks had questions on what this would look like. Now we wanted to show you what this grille looks like in comparison to, we've seen some satin black over in the other areas, but you're gonna get the entire border paint matched in your color. And in all Rubicons, actually all Sport S's and above, you're gonna get the brand new grille. Some of the lower models, you actually get the old school grille, meaning that they'll both work with each other. So you do get a chance to look up close on a lot of these models when you actually see them in person, have a chance to play with them. I did notice two big suspension differences, and actually kind of drivetrain and suspension up front, just before we actually put these up on our rack and check them out. But what we've got going on, the front upper sway bar link bolt and actual stud looks a lot different than what it used to. It looks a lot more reinforced. The nut is a lot larger than it used to be. And then the second thing I noticed, which made me double check what models and what trims were added to this vehicle, is it's got the front CV shafts that come in the full-time transfer case option. When I looked inside the vehicle, it doesn't have the full-time transfer case. It's a two-wheel drive. It's two-wheel, four-wheel. It does not have that. But what that makes me believe is that they're going to be probably putting these CV shafts in Rubicons, maybe even the Willys, but this is a first for us to check out in person. It's got the CV shafts as if it had that, so it's got to be a reason for that. If the 392s are running it, the 2-liter turbo will do just fine. It's probably going to hold up a little bit better. The other thing I was curious about to see in person was the brand new standard Rubicon wheel. I was curious to see about all the wheels, and we're going to check them out in all the videos we have coming out, but honestly, I'm not that mad about the stock Rubicon wheel. To me, it does look like a Mojave wheel that you would see on the Gladiator. And then also they did change the center cap to include a little bit of a red Jeep Willys in there. So you have that red Jeep in the center there. That's different than what it used to be. But honestly, I do not mind these wheels as much as I thought I would. The only one I really have a pet peeve with is the 392 wheel. And we'll talk about that when we do a deep dive into that, because we're going to play with a few of them that we have sitting over here. But the wheels, yeah, my honest opinion, they don't look too bad. And honestly, my opinion doesn't really matter too much because I swap them out anyways. But still the BF Goodrich KO2s, some of the other models did get a new brand of tires. So we're going to see if we can check some of those out as well. The other thing I wanted to talk about was on the windshield of this Jeep, which is where a lot of debate is actually coming. Now this Jeep does come standard now with the Gorilla Glass from what I'm told on the Rubicon trims, and that's because the windshield antenna, or there's an antenna actually built into the windshield instead of the mast antenna that I have on my Jeep. Now I found this a bit interesting because Jeep windshields are notorious for cracking and breaking, and you guys can probably attest that you've had yours break and crack in the past. But what we're seeing here is the antenna built into the top just above the passenger seat. You don't really notice it when you're sitting on the passenger side, and then on the passenger side of the vehicle, they've just replaced where it would normally bolt up the antenna mast on a trail rated badge. Now I wanted to see, it depends how many tools I can get to actually like look behind there and see if the antenna connector is. There's been some rumor that if you hate that one and you break the windshield, you could just pop this off, bolt the standard JL antenna on, and it would work. But I wanted to check that out a little bit deeper. That's just one bigger change to this model. One other thing in the rear of this vehicle I did want to point out is that all Rubicon X, and 392 trims do come with a Dana 44 full float HD rear axle. Now what that does is not only increase the axle strength by reducing stress on the hubs of the vehicle, but it is also going to give you more towing capability. So it bumps them up from, I believe, 2,800 to these can now tow 5,000 pounds when properly equipped. Now if you're trying to pull a small camper or something that's up a little bit higher in weight, you can now do it with these vehicles and make sure that you're not going to blow anything out in the back end of it. Now this is one of the most sought after upgrades onto these vehicles, but the other thing I did want to talk about is that there was some rumors that the 392 didn't get it. So we're going to go, once we do a full deep dive into that, talk with some of the techs, put it up on the lift, and see if that one does have it. But that's pretty much it for the exterior of the 2024. Let's pop in and we're going to do a short interior kind of overview. If you guys want to see a full interior deep dive, we're also going to break down the full Uconnect 5 and really break down the interior on one of the more loaded models. So looking at the interior of this Jeep, there are a bunch of drastic changes that were made onto the dash. But looking at the dash, there are some really cool changes that I've seen. Now, I didn't get a chance to play with the Uconnect 5 on any of the other Jeeps I've kind of messed with or seen at Daytona, but that screen is not as obtrusive as I thought it was gonna be. It looks really nice on this Jeep, and then the biggest change is that the entire dash panel is now redesigned. So you've got two different panels on the side here, and this section that connects with the Uconnect and your bezel gauges almost wraps around in one piece. Now, one of the changes though is that they're not like the same dash panels as what used to come, and I'd imagine that Distinction Applied is gonna have a little bit of a tricky time trying to paint match these. Second difference is I've noticed all the gauges in here are orange instead of the Rubicon red. Now that was a 23 change that we saw on most of those models, but these are all orange just like your base models. Another cool one in here is everything above a Sport S and including the Sport S is also going to include the adaptive and safety group. So we do have the adaptive cruise control box up here. We've got the buttons on the steering wheel, got the backup sensors and the blind spot monitoring. But looking at the dash here, it's similar to what the 2023 was, but in a lot of ways very different. I gotta say, I'm a fan of it. If you guys love it, if you hate it, let us know down below in the comments. But I gotta say, after looking and playing with the screen a little bit, I'm a fan of it, and I think it would be a great retrofit into my Jeep, but we'll see if we can make that possible. But the seats, these are the cloth seats that come with the Rubicon, and I am really, really liking this heather style that they're going with. This is a heather gray, almost a tweed material as they call it, and it does not include as much as the hexes of that my Jeep has. So I've got the cloth, I've got all the hexes in the back of the seat, and then a real big difference, let's pop the back doors open and look at the back, because I can't store all my goodies behind these seats on the Rubicon now. So here it is, the back of the seats. This is kind of what I was talking about. On my Rubicon with the cloth seats, and even with the leather you get it, you do get the Molly webbing attachment straps. So you have the ability to attach, I have first aid kits, I got my Mopar toolkit. On the back of these Jeeps, they don't have it. They do have a little net down here and some hooks for trash bags and other accessories, but no actual webbing. Now, when I'm looking at this looks very similar to the 23, so I'd imagine that this back panel could probably be swapped off and put on that Molly panel like we have. But overall, I do really like these heather seats. I think that this is probably the go-to option, and honestly we'll have to see if we can retrofit a set into ours, because I like the way it looks, and honestly this just looks, it does look a lot more updated in here. Back of the center console, same thing, got your both vents, got your USB chargers, you've got all of your 115 volt, everything set up in the center. But then let's poke up just a little bit. I wanted to show you guys just some of the sound bar here, and actually some cool little lights on either side. They're not working because the key's off, but we're gonna get into that in our full video. If you guys aren't already subscribed and aren't watching this full 2024 series, you really need to. Even if you're not considering buying one, but if you are, here's everything you need to know. We're down here, we're sweating. Luckily, we're under a shade tree here in Kentucky, but we wanted to get this content out to you, and this is a huge thanks to Dan Cummins, Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, our official Jeep dealership affiliate partner. Dirt Road Cred is your ultimate source for anything 2024 Wrangler, all your latest Jeep news, installs, wheeling, etc. We are the place to be. So until next time, my name is Matt with Dirt Road Cred, and I want you to get out there and earn yours.